What's going on, people? It's your man the YB back once again. Big shout out to my doggy Geroyd McAllister for coming through and boosting up the coins. So we got a crazy update for you, man. Who right now? Tyson Fury, aka Luke McGuinness, has kicked out John Fury, aka the Pig Poo Shuffler. Sorry, not shuffle. What do you do with a big spade? Shoveler, that's it. John Fury, the Pig Poo Shoveler. That's his profession. That's what he signs on with at the Universal Credit Office. Come on now, he's not a boxing trainer. That's what we now know for a fact. Anywho, like I said, people close to the situation put me on and said, the YB, you'll be the first to know. John Fury has been kicked spark out of Tyson Fury's camp. This is the Ring Magazine channel, which is obviously Turkey's joint. Turkey told Tyson and Usyk, you can see Usyk's photo here, they told him, hey, get a group photo to announce the end of your camp. So here we go. Alexander Usyk and Fury have both finished their training camps ahead of their rematch on December 21st. So Usyk's got his whole team here, training team there. Bash! You got Shane McGuinness in there. You got the moody Moses Talma. Look at this moody knockoff Moses Talma, man. Who this cat here? This light skin Donny, he no good. How about that? I just know. I can tell by the complexion of his skin. He can't fight like that. How about that? Oh, AB, why are you hating on light skins? Ask Ben Whittaker, man. Ask Anthony. I want to fight 50-year-old Andre Durrell. Yardy. Ask Connor Hen with that moody perm. Was it a perm? Some sort of moody Essex haircut, man. Come on now, people. Stop playing with me. You play too much. This right here, the moody Moses. This ain't the real thing here. Who you kidding, man? It's the the moody Moses Talma. Come on, Tyson, man. Come on. You could have to be fair, Moses is probably one of the better people to bring in for sparring. I know Moses has got his own camp, but they could have had him in there a little bit. Give him some looks. Instead, Tyson opted to bring the moody Moses in. Anyway, the point of this video, people, you can see here, you got Shane McGuinness there. This other one here, one of the Fury runts. What's his name? Knockoff one. We know Shane, we know Tommy. This one's one of the knockoff ones. Not Roman. There's another knockoff Fury no one knows about. This one here. So the whole team's there. Everyone who's involved is there. Yeah? That's what we know for a fact. You got Sugar Hill here. Don't know where Andy Lee is. Andy Lee probably training Joseph Parker. That's what he's doing right now. He'll probably fly in. Pause. He'll probably get flown in for fighting. No, I'm skeptical of that. I don't know what that's about. Trainers should really be there to get the whole vibe of the camp. You shouldn't really fly people in for a night like a hooker. Andy Lee's 2 pennies are obviously valuable to some extent, but he's doing Joseph Parker, man. That's his full-time job. I don't like this whole... I didn't like it when Billy Joe Sausages did it with Ben Davison and Mark Tibbs. Billy Joe trained with Mark Tibbs and then flew his nanny and Ben Diamata Davison, in for the fight week to sit there like... And as a trainer, someone like Sugar Hill, he's no good anyway. He's a sellout. But in principle, I don't know how he allows it. You never see none of the... As far as I'm aware, you never saw none of the old school trainers flying random dudes in a week before. That is the new age. Unfortunately, folks. Either way, the point is, John, we know John ain't working like that, right? He has no, what's the word they call it? Not no fixed abode. He probably has got no fixed abode. No fixed abode. And he ain't got an occupation like that, man. So he should be, normally he's hanging around. He's hanging off the coattails of Tommy or hanging off the coattails of Tyson. So he's normally here. Oops. Tyson told him, stay away because you no good. What's John going to do? And Tyson often talks out of both sides of his mouth. He says, not changing anything. Yeah, we're not going to change nothing. We're going to keep... No. He knows. Whatever you say about Tyson, he knows enough about the game to know John Fury's a clown. Yeah? Peter Fury told you, man. John, spit bucket and head dabber. That's what Peter Fury said about John. He said, listen, when I was working with John Fury, he knew exactly what he had to do. He knew exactly the remit and the scope of he knew exactly the scope and the remit of what was required of him. Head dabber, spit bucket. Spit bucket, head dabber. That's what he told him. But keep it. You have to keep it simple with John. Simple John. If you use too many words or too many explanations, he starts getting carried away in his ego, thinking he can really bring something like that, like we saw in the first fight. But again, this Sugar Hill K, he's no good, man. This manlet looking ass, dude. This manlet looking ass, he ain't no good like that. He's not a leader like that. He's a fugazi as well, unfortunately, folks. Because if he wasn't, he wouldn't have this shambolic situation. Flying Andy Lee and John Fury hanging off. Come on now, people. He ain't running a tight ship like that. He's there's digging pocket, collecting coin. He's a mercenary trainer. He's not actually enmeshed in the game, I don't believe. Because on principle, people. On principle. Apart from bag chasing, why would you want a whole bunch of random dudes in your fighter's ear? It don't make no sense. I'm sorry. So you passed the Fugazi test, Sugar Hill. Ultimately, no good. Anyway, John Fury's been kicked out, folks. Is this good or is this bad for Tyson? I don't think it's going to make a scrap of difference. Yeah? I don't care if he dug up Muhammad, Ahmad, Bruce. Muhammad, Ahmad, Bruce, Jackie Chan, Lee. I don't care who he digs up. Because when that bell goes, and Tyson knows this to some extent, when that bell goes, it's all about you. And people can blame the team and blame John. John sucked, no doubt about that. That said, Tyson was doing his own thing. He didn't want to throw his hands. He didn't want to get at it. That was from him. He didn't have to be told what to do in the Wilder 1 or Wilder 2 fight so much. He knew. After Wilder 1, in them last rounds, I think it was round 11, he gets up, puts it on Wilder. And after that point, he said, I know what I need to do. Now, to be fair, he has said similar things now. He said, I know what I need to do. But his know what I need to do is talking himself out of a hard fight. Yeah, which I believe to beat Usyk is going to have to be a hard fight. This ain't no stiff, scared Vladimir Klitschko. That if you can go in there and just faff around and Vlad's scared to pull the trigger. Usyk was straight on him. Few doing all them moody feints and doing all the slapping and backhanding didn't stop Usyk. This ain't no Vlad who's scared to let his hands go. Scared to death to let his hands go. So, and that was allegedly Tyson Fury on his best day. All that faffing ain't going to work. He's going to need to at some point be nasty and spiteful, and he hasn't got it in him no more. It's finished. And whatever he did have left in him, you saw it in Ngannou when he fought in Bongo. Yeah? Didn't have it in him to be spiteful. Didn't have it in him to get the job done. He went life and death in that fight, and in my opinion, he lost. Got popped on the canvas by the mixed martial arts dude. AJ, who's no good like that. You saw what AJ did with it in Bongo. Just knock his ass spark straight out. Not even playing like that. Right? When you saw what Danny D did to AJ, so there's levels here. And Fury went life and death with Bongo. And that was before Usyk had his way with him. That makes sense. And I believe there will be neurological degradation from that Usyk fight. Never mind the psychological aspect, where it's one thing to get put down by Wilder, even though Wilder was a pumped up basketball player, overhyped, yeah. At least Wilder had that mystique about him. Oh, his right hand. At that point in time, people actually thought it did something. And we now know that was all Fugazi. As most of us, or the people who knew, we knew it was Fugazi, that right hand. And the minute he got in there with someone who's half decent, Joe Parker, Zhang, the right hand was not a factor. I don't care. Oh, well, why be he ain't the same? No. His right hand's the same. How do we know this? After Fury 3, which is when it's alleged by all the Wilder shills, all the Wilder homosexuals, that, oh no, his right hand was real devastating. But then Tyson Fury 3 happened. He had no problem sparking out. After Fury 3, Robert Helenius. Now you can laugh, oh, who's Robert Helenius? That's a bum. Not really. At the time, Helenius was coming off 2 wins against a Polish dude in stoppage fashion. He was actually being hyped up to be the next thing. People were saying at the time, the Polish guy that Helenius punched up. Let's have a look. Helenius box rec. The Polish Donny that Helenius punched up twice. Helenius was big underdogs in them fights. 5-1 underdog. So Helenius was in Korea. How was it? Adam Kawanowski. Yeah? He punched up Kawanowski in the first fight. They said, oh, he slipped. Oh, at the time, yeah, before this fight happened here, before Helenius punched this guy up, people were saying, Kawanowski, was AJ was ducking Kawanaki, or ducking Kawanowski, all these kind of bars. They were saying them bars. He was meant to be the next big thing. He reminds me in a way of that Nathaniel cat. What's the Nathaniel dude's name? Who's not Frank Sands. The Nathaniel dude who Caballero punched up Makhmudov. That's the kind of narrative it was. Before Makhmudov got punched up, got touched to his soft body by Ajit Caballero. The same hype behind Makhmudov was behind Kawanaki at the time. Kawanaki was undefeated, you see it here. Undefeated, high percentage of knockouts. Helenius knocks him out and then does it again in the rematch. That's the status of Helenius at the time. He's just taken out one of the premium hype jobs. People have been pumped. He gets in there with Wilder and gets sparked in the first round. So that was 2022. After Fury had a go on Wilder. Was it the year before? It must have been the year before, 2021. So it was a full year. Wilder comes back, smokes Helenius in the first round. So the right hand didn't go nowhere, people. In fact, Wilder was in peak form. Wilder was expected to dust off Joseph Parker because of things like that. So you can't say, oh, the right hand disappeared. His right hand was there. He's just no good. His right hand's always been there. You can't get it off when you got someone like Parker or Zhang in front of you who can actually box, is the issue. That's what it came down to. Luis Ortiz, he's old, man. He's old. So you can't talk about Luis Ortiz like that. He's too old. We've seen that now. I just watched James Toney's fight back. He fought Razor Ruddock when he was like 55 last year. Slow as molasses. You can't fight when you're 55. And Luis Ortiz is probably one of the better versions of that, to be fair, being in his 50s and having to fight Wilder. But that's what happened there. Andy Ruiz can't punch for toffee. But he was in there with a 60-year-old Luis Ortiz and put him down 4 times. That's not someone who's 35 years old, right? Luis Ortiz was 55. That's what it was. That's how Wilder caught him. Parker, 30. Zhang, 40. Fury. There you go. Anyone who's half anything decent at boxing filled Wilder in. That's the truth of the situation. The right hand didn't go nowhere. I'm not even sure I got onto that story about Wilder, but I'm not sure how it's relevant at all. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know what I was about, but either way, listen. And that was it. We were talking about Mbongo. Mbongo had a go on him. He couldn't do nothing. Usyk had another go on him. So psychologically now, that was it. When Fury was building up to fight Wilder and got put down in the first fight, he knew Wilder was a big puncher, allegedly. And he knows Wilder can't box. Now, flip the script 5 years later where Fury can't even get off the mat and have a go on Stephen Bongo, the wrestler. He'd just been popped by a dude he didn't think had any power. And by a dude who can box. And what's he saying? Is Fury saying, yeah, I'm going to fix this one. This big plumber, this big stiff plumber from the Ukraine's getting it. No, he's not. He's saying, well, he's trying to do it, spin his mind. And I've told you already, I've been finished. Not obviously nowhere near these guys' level. But still, seriously competitive in a sport, yeah? And when you're finished in the game, your brain plays tricks on you. Oh, I can find an easier way to do this now. When you're in the prime of your career, you just want to hit hard. When you're finished, it's like, well, actually, I could just do this a little bit easier. Not the training, but the competitive part. Oh, actually, you try and find ways to make it easier for yourself. That's what Fury's done. He started out saying, I can't win on points. This guy's getting it. And as we've got closer, the truth has come out. Well, actually, I don't need to be aggressive. I don't need to be spiteful. I'm convinced now. Not everyone has to be Gennady Imad Golovkin. But bad intentions, whatever you're doing, whether it's on the back foot, you can still have bad intentions on the back foot. I'm trying to think of an example of a spiteful back foot fighter. I don't know. But there is definitely some. Even people look at, for example, Tommy Hearns versus Hagler. Hearns was on the back foot, but the shots he was throwing had bad intentions all over them. He wasn't just... His butt wasn't twitching and he wasn't pulling back. He'd plant his feet at points and he'd start swinging shots from the hip. That's what he'd do. That's what you must have, I believe, in this game to win. Now, Usyk's not the biggest puncher, but he does have, well... I don't think he has a. He's clearly not an out and out spiteful fighter because he'd have tried to put it on Fury more. But he's got bad intentions. Usyk does. Usyk's not cacking his pants saying, "Oh well, actually, the first fight I can make it easier because I came straight at Fury, but now I'm going to box more." He said, "Listen, he's licking his chops. Usyk licking his chops, people. I can't wait to do that again. Usyk's not a pressure fighter like that. This is the first time he's come forward and he loved it. The first time in Usyk's career he's come spark forward and he loved it. He wants some more. That's how sweet Tyson Fury was to him. So who here felt something in that fight? Who here has been turned off? You're the big 270-pound behemoth that knocked out the fake yard Dillian White with one punch. You'd think he'd be the one saying, you know what, this little midget from the Ukraine, he's getting it. He's proper getting it this time. He's not saying that. Well, actually, I just can outbox him. He don't even dare to try. Tyson Fury doesn't even want to dream about trying to knock Usyk out. He wants to be as far away, and that's what the first fight proved. He wants to be as far away from Usyk as possible at all times. We saw that already. He comes out to the middle of the ring, runs straight back to the... He don't want to be nowhere near him. And that was before he got popped and punched up and didn't want to fight back, ultimately. He was pot-shotting his way through that because he don't really want to get into an exchange. And even if he did, Fury is not a pressure fighter like that. He don't know how to fight with his hand stuck to his head. He doesn't. That's actually a limitation of his. Watch the Steve Cunningham fight back. He tried putting his hands up like this. And until Cunningham made an error, Cunningham was getting the better of them inside exchanges. Fury can't fight on the inside like that. He just can't. He got punched up by Cunningham until he didn't. Kind of thing. It was one of them ones. Usyk can do it all. He really can. That's what he can do. Anyway, the point of this video was, folks, John Fury's out of the camp. Yeah, no, it's always a good day when John Fury gets pied off. Yeah, John Fury is too busy hanging off the coattails of Tommy right now. Yeah, I think Tyson probably tried. I heard people said close to the situation. They said YB. Tyson actually wanted John there, but John told Tyson, "Hey Tyson, sorry right now, I'm busy hanging off the coattails of Tommy." So John will probably fly in a week before, but I'll be very shocked from people I've spoke to close to the situation if John's in the corner. If he was going to be in the corner, yeah, he'd be more in the mix here. He'd be more in the mix. He's not going to be in the corner because he's no good like that. This, however, is a contradiction. Fury said, "Oh, I'm not going to change nothing in my team." He might actually do that. He might actually bring John back into the cut to try and prove a point, but that will show you he's not really thinking straight. Yeah, if this is an ego fest for Fury, and he's trying to prove a point, oh, I can do it with John in there, that shows he ain't serious. It don't really matter if John's there, like I said. It don't really matter if Muhammad, Ahmad, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan is there in his corner. Because when Usyk gets on him, this really is a question of how spiteful does Usyk want to be? That's what it comes down to. Because Fury ain't got none left in him. He's finished. Yeah. And Usyk need to be all over this guy. Not from the first. I think Usyk settles in, find your rhythm, and then turn up the temperature like he normally does. I think that first fight is probably a mistake from Usyk, to be honest. His edge is having gas for days down the back straight. If you look at the punch stats, let's have a look at Usyk versus AJ2 Compu box. If you look at the punch stats, Usyk traditionally, he starts building up towards the end. Here we go. Look at this. This is madness, people. So he starts off 47, 48, 52, 55, 34, 65, 55, 77. 47 was the round 9 where it was bad for him. Then he goes 95, 80, 57. That is where he normally comes on strong. I need to check the Fury ones. Let's have a look at AJ1 as well. I need to check the Fury ones, or what the Fury punch stats were. Or sorry, what the Usyk punch stats were for the Fury fight. But let's have a look at the first fight. A similar phenomenon here. He goes 30, 42, 42, 34, 48, 34, 53, 39. Well, actually, that's more average. He ends on a 68. AJ was throwing more. That's cap. AJ threw 75 in the last round. I think they got these numbers twisted up. Anyway, let's have a look at the Fury one now. Usyk compu box. Obviously, these stats they're not the be all and end all. Hatman exposed them, but still, they're a fair baseline, I'd say. So I don't remember any of this. I don't remember this. They're alleging that Usyk only threw 18 punches and Fury threw 37 in round 1. I don't know what they're smoking. They must be on La Coca. That's what they must have been hanging out when they wrote this up. Oh yeah, Usyk only. Come on. Apparently in round 1, Fury landed 9 shots and Usyk landed 8. They bugging, man. They bugging bad. That's what they doing. Yeah, and I told you before, people who run compo box, don't be hanging with Calla, like that. When you got a job to do, watch them punches. You can't have Calla in your ear, turning round. You got to be concentrating. There's no time for a sneaky line here, sneaky line there in between. You got to look at the fight, man. Stop playing. So anyway, let's go by these moody numbers. These numbers are moody, man. I don't believe them. Apparently, Usyk's never punched in this fight, in the Fury fight that happened in May. It says 18, 26, 32, 41, 30, 28. You're bugging. You're bugging bad. That's bullshit. I'm sorry. Apparently Usyk wasn't punching because Fury wasn't doing much. So apparently Usyk wasn't doing nothing either. That's mad. Anyway, he did up it in the end, and he upped it. He went from like the 30s into the 45. Well, it's pretty average as well. But it's a much lower average. We're talking 30s here. In the AJ fight, I guess you can argue AJ's stiffer and whatnot, and Fury's running more. The point is, down the back straight, in my opinion. Well, he did kind of allegedly start off slow. I don't remember watching that though. I remember the first 2 rounds, Usyk was all over him. So I don't know where these low punch numbers are coming from. I'm surprised. Either way, the strategy is, I've tried to pass Usyk the game already. The strategy is you go in there and let the big heifer blow himself out. Nick a few rounds of the first 6. Nick 2 or 3 rounds of the first 6. And Fury's going to be blowing because he's scared. He's got that anxious energy in him. Down the back straight to start turning the temperature up. And you'll cook a big old bird. Big old Christmas bird. 270-pound Christmas bird will get cooked. Is my base case. There's no need really for Usyk to come rushing forward when Fury's fresh. Fury only landed shots in round 5 and 6. Now you can argue, well, YB, the reason Fury unravelled down the straight was because of the early pressure. Not necessarily. Look at Tony Bellew. Usyk wasn't pressuring Bellew with his feet for 5 rounds or whatever it was. It's the psychological pressure of having to be engaged with Usyk. You don't have to pressure with your feet, because when you pressure with your feet against a big lanky oaf, you're there to be countered. So do what you normally do. Go in there, give it the feint, slap him about a bit, step out. Fury's going to be running and panicking anyway. When you're right in front of him, he knows where you are more of the time. You don't want him to know where you are. You want to slap him, do what you used to do, essentially. And then, after 6-7 rounds, when the bird's been plumped up, then you go to babash, triple G mode. Because he'll have no legs left, and he was slow as molasses, Fury was. Usyk was slow as well, because he was tired. That's the point I'm making. I think Usyk did a strategy that isn't normally what he does. Starting off quick and getting on it. I don't think he needs to do that, necessarily. I think the stoppage, he can break Fury down. He's no good. Even if you watch him in his prime against Vlad, them last 6 rounds was stinkers. Had no gas left, and that was 10 years ago. So bank on your conditioning as a cruiserweight and be strong when they're weak. There's no point trying to compete as such. Trying to do well in the first 6 rounds is like you're trying to be strong when he's strong. You want to be strong when he's weak. And just ebb them first 6 rounds. Win 2 or 3 of them. And then stick it all over him. Gennady Imad. No, that's not. Forget about Gennady. He's no good. I don't rate Gennady like that. Gennady got punched up by Carrot Top. You need to wade forward in the back straight, the last 6. Like Artur Beterbiev. Artur Imad Beterbiev. Yeah, that's what you do. Pup. 100%. You go in there and stick it all over him. Fury will have no answers because he'll be gassed. And it'll be... Also, it's the change of pace that shocks people. Right? If you come out from round 1 and your hands are stuck here and you're doing the same thing for 12 rounds, they're all expecting it. You're comfortable. When someone's been boxing with you for 6 rounds and you get comfortable to that and you're finding what you're doing, and the next minute they got their hands stuck to their head and they're sticking it all over you, it's like, it's a shock, if that makes sense. Don't be predictable, in my opinion. Mix it up. I'd like to see Usyk mix it up more. We haven't actually seen Usyk do what he's known for yet against Fury. We haven't actually seen, and maybe Usyk's a better strategist than me. Maybe he knows, I can't box with Tyson Fury, but that's what you do, man. You're not a pressure fighter like that. So I'd like to see at least a round. At least try it for a round or two, right? At least try doing what you normally do, boxing with him, angles and feints and stepping in, stepping out. At least try that. And if it's not working, then you can always go back to the babash. Yeah? See some more variety. And Usyk's a talented fighter. He don't need to just do one thing. It sounds good. I'm coming after you. And maybe Usyk knows something we don't. Maybe he knows that he's got another gear and he's going to stick his hands to his head and he's going to give it to Fury. Which probably, that might be listen, he's been in the game a long time. He must have thought about doing what he normally does in boxing with Fury. I'd have thought. Time will tell, but it does bode well for Usyk, in my opinion. I'm going to put not a lot of bread, I'll probably put 30 on it or something. Usyk to win. On points. Well, I can't trust Fury's chops, actually. If he gets, his chops will have degraded even more even more in the last 6 months. We saw him spark drunk, falling over, knocking his head on the floor, and that was after Usyk already rattled his kettle for him. So he's probably drinking it right now, if I'm honest. Knowing Tyson Fury, he's probably drinking now. So he'll be off the liquor. He'll be off the Jippo liquor. That Jippo liquor's mean, man. It's not very forgiving for an athlete. I'll tell you that for free. Yeah? The Moody Hooch Jippo liquor, man. That's no good. That's no good for your liver. It's no good for... That's good for athletes. So that'll be corroding the insides of his body. And Usyk's out there living with the bears. So it's gonna be relentless with Tyson Fury. I'll be very shocked if he pulls it off. And if he does, it's good for boxing, but it's not my base case. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. John Fury been kicked out of the camp. Smash the like button, subscribe, like the bell 100%. There's no doubt about this one, people. Stop.